members of the community. There are people that I've come to love, but sometimes I wish I didn't have to see. We've been here too many times, and we're here again in a wholly avoidable situation. The family is so grateful that the community is here to support them. The blessings from the community and the support from the community has been tremendous. But once again, like we've seen before, George Floyd should not have been murdered. Dante Wright should not have been killed by Kim Potter. We have crime after crime that happens here, and we have an opportunity to fix it. We have crimes that happen across the country that everyone knows about. Everyone knows about the dangers of no-knock warrants from Breonna Taylor and so many others who have died that way. And we have so many more examples from this community. I can say name after name of loved ones, and their family members are here and community members are here to support them and to support this family right now. But when you see all of the people that are here and that have continued to be here, that have continued to show up to fight against racism, to fight against police brutality, to fight against wrongful deaths in Minneapolis and Minnesota, you have to ask yourself, what's it going to take for the lesson to be learned? How many more people have to die before we not only enforce policies, but implement them? We actually require training. We require accountability from our leaders in the police department and broader Minneapolis. You know, almost 2 years ago, there was a new policy enacted that was supposed to, quote unquote, limit, right, no-knock warrants. It was very much billed to this community afterwards and sold to this community afterwards as a ban on no-knock warrants. There was no ban on no-knock warrants in Minneapolis, and I know both our legal team and the press, I'm sure, is going to be working very hard over the next several weeks and months to figure out exactly how many no-knock warrants happened in the city of Minneapolis since they, quote unquote, banned them. A number of the community members have shown up, or people who have lost loved ones at the hands of police violence. It's a pain that is indescribable. And it comes in large part because not only are these killings avoidable, but they come at the hands of people we're supposed to trust and love and are supposed to serve everyone. And the devastation is compounded as a result of that. So, you know, we've obviously already had one press conference today. I don't want to say too much, but I think it's just important to see again how many people show up because we're killing loved ones unnecessarily. Look at all the cameras that are here. There were more cameras than this here over the last 2 years, yet we're still here again. So unless we stand up and demand real, actual change and accountability, we're all going to be back here again. And another mother, another father, another brother, another sister, another cousin, another aunt, another uncle, another grandparent, and another friend is going to lose a loved one needlessly and unnecessarily. So what I'd like to do now is turn to the mother of Amir Locke, Karen Wells.
As I say my baby boy's name, Amir Locke, each and every one of you are going to learn about Amir Locke. My son didn't deserve what happened to him. He was born and raised in the Twin Cities. He was planning on coming back to Dallas, Texas, where I'm currently at, where he was living as well, to work on and pursue many goals that he had planned. But on 2/2/22, it was taken away from him. Our son is a deep, deep sleeper. I've always been on the opposite end of the protest and in support of everybody I lived here for over 25 years, and I raised both my sons. This is very, very detrimental and heart-wrenching and hard, because I was always an advocate for the families that went through this, but never in a million years would I have ever imagined that my son Amir, who is born and raised in the Twin Cities, law-abiding citizen, did everything he was supposed to do, was raised with moral and values, loved by so many, everybody that came in contact with him. He had a beautiful spirit and a beautiful smile. Never would I have imagined that I would be standing up here talking about the execution of my son by the Minneapolis Police Department. I should not have to be here. I should be able to FaceTime with my son like I did on last Friday. I should be able to tell my son that I love you and he says I love you too. But now I have to do that in spirit. I can't do it in the flesh. That's not right. At the end of the day, I believe that he was executed by the MPD, and I want the police officer that murdered my son to be prosecuted and fired.
You're now going to hear from Amir Locke's father, Andre Locke.
Every one of you that's here today either have a son or a daughter. For each of you that's out here with the press, I'm gonna ask you to do me a favor. How many of you guys have sons of your own? Let me see you raise your hands. Put yourselves in our shoes. How does that feel to know that your son is sleeping comfortably in a safe place, peacefully, and someone takes it upon themselves to choose who lives and who dies? I'm burning in the inside. Man, I didn't think my son. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen too many times. Too many times. I have to think of my mother right now. I'm sorry. Let her rest. She'll tell me to straighten it up and speak straight. But and me being one of the stronger ones of the family, I have to get it together. I have 5 sons. I have 4 daughters. Amir was the oldest, so he was the 3rd oldest. I love Amir dearly. I love each of them dearly. Amir was a bright light, and he deserves to be able to shine. I apologize, Amir. There's so much that we can say about Amir. Again, I want you to put yourselves in our shoes and think about someone kicking your door in, or not even necessarily kicking the door in. If that would have happened, at least he'd have awakened, possibly. But by him being such a deep sleeper, what we saw when the officer kicked the couch, Amir wasn't even moving before then, until the officer startled him. When he kicked the couch, when he aggravated Amir, when he forced Amir to respond, to protect themselves, as any law-abiding citizen would do and has the right to do.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I definitely agree. We want the officer who took our son's life. We believe that he executed him. Our son, Amir, we believe it. And we definitely want him prosecuted to the fullest. And he needs to be out of there. The same officer has all of these different complaints. There's so much that I'd like to say. I don't want to hold my tongue about anything. I just don't want to see it happen to anyone else, to no one's child. Thank you, guys.
And with respect to the prosecution, as Amir's parents noted, we have seen the reports that Attorney General Keith Ellison is going to be involved in the investigation of the matter, and obviously we welcome that given his office's track record in successfully prosecuting officers who needed to be prosecuted in the state of Minnesota. Now we're going to give an opportunity to Amir's aunt and uncle, Linda and Andrew Tyler, to speak.
We're at this press conference not because my nephew is going to join the Minnesota Timberwolves, not because he's going to become a Viking player. We're at this press conference because a police officer decided to be judge and jury, not to warn him, not to say, wake up, not to offer anything, and for you to say in the news that they tried to save him. You would try to save somebody when you're trying to kill them. When you know you're wrong, you have to try and save them. My brother and sister, this is my sister. That was her son. That was her baby son. I was at the hospital when he was born, and we cut the umbilical cord. And for all of you, this is your son. He is a citizen of the United States of America, and he resides in I reside in Illinois. He resides in Minnesota. You should be outraged, not because he's African American, but you should be outraged just because one of your citizens died at the hand of another citizen. It is time out for this. I'm sorry. It is time out. When they send their boys and when they raise their kids, we raise them with a certain creed. Do this. Put your hands on the wheel. Make sure you look at them eye to eye. Don't move too soon. Don't go into your pockets. Just sit still. We train our kids up like that because we want them to live just another day. It is like an officer who will say, their family will say, I just want my husband, my son, my daughter to make it back home. I'm worried about them because it's bad out there. It's deadly out there. These parents have that same pain. These parents experience the same thing. We have got to stop doing that to our kids. That was my nephew. And for all of you out there and you who are reporting, report the news accurately. Don't spin the story to make it feel good for the officer because he's your citizen too. Make sure you say it and you say it plain. Amir was a gun-carrying, licensed individual. NRA should be excited about that. I carry a card, and many of you probably here carry a card. And you want to talk about why would he have his gun on him? Why? Because when you live in a house, you keep your gun near you, which is at your bedside. That's what I would do. And so if any intruder comes in, I'm going to reach for my gun to protect my house and my home. Amir was at his cousin's house. He was at his cousin's house in the sanctity of his house. And he was there. Of course he had his gun by his side because where else is he going to put it? He was sleeping at somebody else's house. So he keeps it by his side. And if you would have came in there on me and you, any reasonable individual will understand that you would respond as he did. And he didn't point the gun. So change the narrative.